Hey guys, I'm back. Okay, gonna talk about today the importance of your resume. Okay, sorry in advance, I sound sick because I am sick and I'm trying hard not to sound like a man. So your resume is one of the most important items that you need to get a job. This is a fact, everybody knows this. But you want your resume to stand out. You want your resume to differentiate you from all the competition, which is difficult, right? Because, I mean, sometimes it comes down to what you've done in the past. Sometimes it comes down to who you are. Sometimes it comes down to who knows you. I got out here, and I remember showing my resume to people when I was trying to get a writer gig. And they basically told me in a nice way that, my resume was trash. It was trash, right? So I had to fix it. And so I went through a couple series of workshops. One of the things that they told me was very important was to make sure, especially as a writer, you kind of catalog your resume so that it's very clean and easy to read. My original resume had, the standard resume, right? You have what you did, the year you did it, either bullet points or you have, a little block of text. This is what I did, a little summary. When I showed them that resume, it trashed it. Okay, it got trashed. It's important to highlight 3 important things, especially going after writers' gigs or any type of production position. Your role, whatever your role was in the company you work for, and who you worked in that company with. Who was your boss or your supervisor or your lead? Out here, you learn pretty fast that it's not just what you can do, it's also who you've worked for and who you've had experience working under. It could be something that to you might think is not that important, but to somebody who's reading your resume, because the circle is so small, they might say, oh, I've worked with, such and such before. Oh, I know her. She's worked on XYZ project with me. And so, they already know that you come from a reputable source and who can give you good references and who can really speak to the quality of work that you can do. Another thing, which is pretty basic, but I find that I've run into a lot of people who don't do this. Make sure you separate your resumes, guys. Like, separate your resumes. Like, you should have resumes for, let's say you're looking for, a development type job, you're looking for a writer position, and then you're also looking for an editor position. You should have 3 separate resumes, and each job that you go after should be tailored specifically to that job. And when you tailor your resume specifically to that position, highlight the best of your craft. Highlight the best of what you've done in any of those categories. For example, I worked at PBS in the past. But for my writer position, I might highlight the fact that I did a lot of research. I did a lot of fact checking. For the production side of it, I work with talent. You know what I mean? I got talent releases. I got a lot of coffee. I got a lot of lunch. I got a lot of lunch for people. You have to play up different pieces of what you did in that role for the specific position that you're applying for. Another very important piece of your resume is for it to be visually appealing. Most of us are generally taught to do our resumes in Microsoft Word, and you look online, you see a standard format resume, and you kind of copy that. Well, as your work progresses, as your career progresses, so should your resume, and so should how it appears. Me personally, I know different softwares. I know how to use Photoshop. I know how to use Adobe InDesign, and basically design the resume that I thought would be looked a little bit better to the eye. And then the last thing that was really interesting to me when I got out here, I've often been told by different people, maybe you should reconfigure your resume. Maybe there are a few things that you've done in the past that maybe you did 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe you should highlight that at the top. I've always been torn about that, to be very honest, but I don't necessarily feel like you should move things around. Literally, you are one click away from finding out what the person did and when they worked for a certain company. I mean, I think it's just important that whatever you've done in the past, you can speak to very strongly on your resume and in person if you already get the interview. Having those things make your resume clean, concise, and it gives you a little bit of a leg up. And of course, this is more so for like newbies. As I mentioned, like my channel is kind of for people who are just kind of getting into this world and are not really sure what to do and are not really sure the steps to take. So I feel like this is something that was passed on to me, and I want to pass it on to those who are kind of just coming up and getting into this world and getting into these industries. So, okay, guys, that's it. Sorry again for me sounding like a man because I'm sick. And hope you guys have a great week. Okay, bye.